and welcome to Howdy Doody Corral Happens. I'm your host, Mortimer the Bovine Menace. How you doing, kids? It's me, Mortimer. Now, I just wanted to continue the conversation we started up, so make sure to push your parents out of the room because this one's going to be our little secret. Now, hey kids, you remember I told you to be collecting all your parents' money when they weren't looking, yeah? Well, we're going to list an address below. You're going to want to copy this onto a thing called an envelope. Put all the money inside and send it to us. But here's the trick. In the top corner, you also have to write the same address so that you don't need to use a stamp. I don't have to explain stamps to you. This is really important. Oh, all right, kids. Bring your parents back in the room and what's up, Kevin? How's it going?
I'm doing good. Didn't like Soupy Sales or one of those like early
Soupy Sales
told he get in trouble kids for exactly this?
Yeah, he told kids to send him change, I think. Just like their parents spare change.
Yeah. Like, it wasn't like go in your parents' wallet and take out those funny green pieces of paper and send them all to this address. And yeah,
it's a really good idea. But you know what else is a really good idea? Capitalizing on the attention we've just made with our award-winning episode of the podcast, Coterminous. That's right, folks. We got a scorcher for you. I don't know if it's going to be a hot day because of the sun. This is falling down. But okay, we got live in the studio. Is this a studio? I like to think of my room as the studio, and you guys live inside the computer of the studio. You know. Anyway, let me. My guest today is. She's a YouTuber. She interviewed me. You can check out her content interviewing nerdy creators and talking about cool passions. Mira Manga, or what's her YouTube is youtube.com/Mira Manga, I believe. MiraManga. Mira is here, back by popular demand. What's up? How you doing?
I'm so good. I'm crawling out of the sock drawer in your bedroom studio to join you live today. And I'm so excited because today I get to meet Kevin, who last time I was with you was on the elemental plane of fire, right?
Yeah, Kevin was on the elemental plane of fire, is also known as Florida. And it was... as hellish as you might imagine, as rife with exploitation and oppression as you'd imagine, and probably more hatred and violence than you'd naturally find on the fire plane, just to talk in broad strokes. Is that right, Kevin?
Yeah, there were some questionable things I saw down there. I don't want to get into too many details.
I was just painting a broad picture. Go ahead.
It was freakish in a few ways, yes. Florida's not my favorite place.
Yeah.
Did you return imbued with any special powers, Kevin?
The power to turn my skin pink. I got a little bit of a sunburn. That's probably the best power I got from being there.
Wow.
What is that? A minor prestidigitation? Turning your skin a color?
Yeah, maybe a little bit of like chameleon camouflage thing going on. I don't know.
Yeah. It's like an alter self or a disguised self, but it just works one way, and it hurts really bad.
Yeah. I took major damage.
Yeah.
Oh, well, amazing.
I mean, do you have any questions for Kevin? You want to meet Kevin? Like this is. I mean, I knew that we've been corresponding for a while, and every single time we would talk, you would express like just that how deep your desire to meet Kevin was. I mean, this is your chance.
Well, I just think it's. I mean, in life, we go along, and as you and I have discussed previously, we're all dying. Yeah. Life is suffering. But if you have people in your life like a Kevin, they kind of like hold us, with this reassuring support. And, every Sunday, you two come together to make magic. And I guess it just makes me happy to meet Kevin because the two of you make this, which makes me happy.
Yeah.
And also...
Go ahead.
Yeah, you and I got to talk. I just thought maybe I'd never meet Kevin, but today a dream has come true. So yay!
Yeah, wow, man, that happens. We're making dreams come true on the podcast. Oh boy.
Yeah. How do you and Kevin know each other?
Okay. So, well, first I just want to say that I think everybody needs a Kevin in their life, and I endeavor to be the Kevin in some people's lives. Maybe not everybody listening to this. I don't know if I can be your Kevin, but that's what I want to do. And I know I can't be Kevin's Kevin because he's too competent and I have nothing to offer him. But what I can maybe offer him is to be his Spencer, because I think a person like Kevin might need a Spencer more than another Kevin, who knows? But how did we meet, Kevin? Okay, so here's how we met. Dan told me about an email address from some freak, and I was like, I don't like this guy. We should not trust him. This sounds like a lie. Everything he says sounds like a lie. And that dynamic persisted for a long time. I grew to trust you more, but that did not stop me from thinking everything you said was a lie. I held these beliefs simultaneously in my mind. Do you want to expand more on that, Kevin? Mine is more stylistic and emotional than plot details.
Well, no, that's pretty accurate, I think. Because I remember Dan contacting me and then making a point to tell me, hey, I've got Spencer here with me reading over every word you say. He's kind of like my Worf to my Picard, who's making sure nobody hurts me. And he was joking, but he even said something like, choose your words carefully. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I kept going, and I didn't get the feel you still believe me, but Dan did, kind of.
Well, it's just, imagine someone reaching out and their agenda. If you had to pick percentages, is the chance that the person who's choosing to reach it out is serving their agenda or is selflessly trying to waste their time helping someone? It's just on average, I think it usually breaks my way. It
probably does. And just to fill in for what people that may not know this story, I got made aware that some people had got access to Dan's iCloud account and was trying to tip him off before they did anything too nefarious with it.
Yeah, around the time of what they called defappening, a bunch of internet communities were just blowing up with what information was out there and what to do with it. And so presumably one of these signals reached Kevin, and Kevin's like, wait, there's harm being done that I might be able to help prevent,
Yeah.
Save the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dan did make a point of calling me the internet's Dudley Do Right after that point, which kind of fits.
Yeah.
I can imagine your suspicion though, Spencer. You could have been like, this is some snake oil person and he's going to have your account details.
Yeah, either he could have invented the problem or he saw a problem and then saw his opportunity. Either way, those aren't good signals, but whatever. And further, Kevin has said a lot more things since then that have sounded equally crazy, but have also mostly been, and I say mostly just because I haven't confirmed every single thing, but most of them have been confirmed over time, so slowly trust was built.
Is there anything that still stands out that you don't believe about my past or something?
Yeah, the Pacific Rim Godzilla thing. Do you remember that? We don't have to get into it, but that didn't happen. But that doesn't mean it's fake. It just means there's not great. I don't know. I don't know how Kevin's a powerful man, and I don't want to air his dirty laundry out. But there's I'm sure you just read something about there is maybe a Pacific Rim Godzilla movie in the works, and it hasn't come out. But that doesn't mean it wasn't in the works. Sometimes it just means I haven't independently verified that the way I have other things you've said.
Okay.
But most of the things, everything I have verified is true. So,
I was like, where are you going with this? Like, Kevin knows the real Pacific Rim story and has found the Gundam, and you were like, no, he just said there's a movie that works. There might not be.
Yeah, well, Kevin was saying there actually is a Pacific Rim, and I was like, that's fake. That's a movie. There's no Pacific Rim, and it's like, no, that actually is just like what we call some part of the seafloor. But we should crack into what's Kevin's deal, huh? Like, I mean, we're really digging into it. Let's gamify it, huh? All right. That's right, folks. It's time for What's Kevin's Deal? Mira, do you know how to play?
I don't. Could you refresh me on the rules, please?
Yeah, of course. What's Kevin's Deal is a game show in which we ask Kevin what his deal is. We come up with a possible deal, ascribe it to Kevin, and he responds with whether it's accurate or not. So what does that mean? I'll give you an example by going first, and you will go next. So here's how the game is played. Round one. Kevin, is your deal that you found the Pacific Rim and have been looking for ways to alert the public for years, which has resulted in the 2 Pacific Rim franchises as well as the 1 or 2 Netflix series.
No, I'm going to go out on a limb and say no. That's not that's not my deal.
All right, so Mira, I'm bad at this game. I'm historically very bad.
Okay.
It's almost as if my guesses are more meant to illustrate what you're supposed to do to play this game than they are to actually get at any form of truth.
Kevin, is your deal that you love robot Godzilla movies, and where does that place you in the whole Michael Bay Transformer universe?
I mean, I love to hate those kind of movies. Like they're so bad, but it's the so bad they're good kind of thing. So I don't really feel like that's like my favorite kind of movie. It's not what I sit down to watch, but at the same time, like if you're watching one and you're like, hey, come watch this with me, I'm going to watch it with you. But
okay.
It's just more, it's too many explosions versus plot.
I was just thinking that, and there's a lot of stuff that just doesn't look very good. I haven't been catching up with the Transformers, but early on, it's just there's so much movement and blurring that you couldn't even see like cool robot stuff. And I feel like you could probably just cut every single Transformers movie to like 20-30 minutes of cool robot stuff that's actually not blurry, just clear action and clear robots transforming. I'd probably rather watch that than any of the movies, because it's like, yeah, look at this cool robot, it's transforming and it punched a guy. I don't know, that sounds like what you want out of the movie anyway, and then they just fill it up with Matt Damon or something. I don't know.
It's crazy mad.
Go ahead.
I don't know. Matt Damon, he's like one of many, right? But I think it's kind of crazy how now things I used to play with when I was a little kid are now movies. I still haven't got over the He-Man movie. I still think about that a lot, like all the time.
Wasn't there a Playmobil movie?
No, come on now.
Kevin?
I'm going to look it up. Hold on.
While Kevin's looking that up, it's time to
There was.
Okay.
Daniel Radcliffe, Anna Taylor-Joy, Jim Gaffigan even, Megan Trainor.
Yeah.
It's a real thing. I swear I blocked this from my memory, but it is a real thing.
Making the He-Man movie look real good.
Have you guys have seen the He-Man movie, right? With Dolph Lundgren? No?
No.
And Monica from Friends?
I like good movies.
Oh my goodness. Life-changing.
Like Transformers 5.
Wow. I mean, yeah. I think maybe that's the thing. We'll do a watch along or something. He-Man the movie one day.
Yeah, I'm sure it's it is fun watching bad movies, but I don't know. When I was a kid, I didn't like watching movies, and so the idea of watching bad movies was like, this is insane. But now it's I get it. But okay, so you wrote a book?
I did. I kind of fell into it really by accident. I've always been in bands, and the sillier the band, the better. So I used to be in a band in the midst of time called the Dulocks, and we had the song titles were things like Red Wizard Needs Food Badly and Help, I'm Turning into Mick Jagger, and Bad Vegetarian. And the chorus of Bad Vegetarian was like, we saw you eat the fish, we saw you eat the fish, we saw you eat the fish, it was your Christmas dish. You are a bad vegetarian. So it was like very low, low stakes, low IQ. And I also try and do freelance writing. So I got to write for D&D magazine, which is like one of my most amazing things ever. I got to write for a gaming magazine called Weird Science, which is so cool, all about board games, and you should check it out. And I also write and edit 28 Mag, which is like a kind of like a grimdark hobbyist magazine. And I love it. I mean, I'm terrified of the AIs taking over, but
yeah,
it'll take some time before they can program my personality, I hope. But yeah, it's really fun.
It's just, some of the scenes don't want to become toxic, so you just gotta find those ones. But maybe the places you are those kinds of groups already, that don't want to steamroll humanity.
Let's hope so. But actually, YouTubing has been so wonderful and fun because, you know, when you write, you're kind of grinding away by yourself. And then you show it and it might get some edits and come back. But so we started this YouTube channel kind of by mistake, you know, a series of weird and wonderful events. And now I get to like talk to people and meet people. And it's always so fun because we talk about what is making them excited for their stuff. My words are failing me, but yeah.
And you can find that stuff at youtube.com/Mira Manga. Isn't that correct?
You're so good at this, Spencer. It's like you've done this before with the ads.
Hey, yeah, I love ads. And I'd love to take a quick break right now, but it is far too early in the show. So, you know, I'll just, you know, toss out the promo code Goblin Flakes. So that's Goblin Flakes. Okay, so that's really cool. I mean, it sounds like you're doing a lot of shit. I'm jealous of everyone I talk to in life, but I'm very jealous. Like, that's very cool. Writing is something I feel like I would have done more if I had more self-confidence, but the idea of pitching and selling yourself and like trying to have multiple gigs at once and getting just people to give you work and stuff, it was like I feel like I'm just going to be doing that forever and it's always going to be terrifying and horrible. And so I was just like, I'm sure I could do something else that's not like that. And I just kind of wrote it off, but it's like I always knew it was something I was really good at. I just didn't want that life. And now I'm fucking Hollywood. It sucks. I hate it. I'm in the exact same space, but I didn't do all the work I could have been doing that whole time if I accepted that I might, you know, do something like this. Anyway, I'm just talking
that's kind of lying because I've seen your D&D content. So that is still doing the writing and coming out of your mind and going on stage.
That's the thing, is that like I feel like I knew that was a big part of me, but I just wanted to do it for fun and not in a way that could, I don't know, you know, everybody's maybe on some level afraid to fail, but I'm definitely afraid to try something and fail. Probably because of a lack of support system growing up. But I want to talk not about my traumas, but yours. What was how did you go to, what was your school? Like, I don't even really understand British schools, but like, what was high school like? Where were you in high school? Where you know, I don't know whereabouts in the country you're based out of. Like, what was high school in Mira like?
Well, I grew up in a town outside of London called Reading, which is very famous for the Reading Festival. Yeah,
Reading and Leeds, right?
Yes, precisely. And when I was little, I was really, really shy. I would hide behind my mum and dad's legs, and I didn't like to go and ask anybody for anything. And then when I became 11, I did an exam, which got me into what we call in the UK a grammar school. And what that means is you have to pass this exam to get into it. Now, the
grammar school is like a class system, right? It's like a way of differentiating like the kids who would do more trade jobs versus like a college course. I think I've heard it explained like that before.
I think that's probably it. But when you were little, you're just told to do the exam.
Yeah, it's tests. Yeah.
You do not know that it means that you will go to a different school than some of your friends. Mm-hmm. And it does not tell you that you will be going to an all-girls school. So I love to read, Spencer. Like, I read all the time. Like, it's my comfort blanket. And so I read the Lord. This is like such a brag, but I read the Lord of the Rings when I was 6.
Nice. And that's some Kevin shit.
I don't know if I understood it, but I had read The Hobbit, and then I don't, you know, I remember knowing the word Gandalf very young. So I think I got into, based on my comprehension and understanding of language, I think I got into this amazing grammar school. And I actually did a podcast with my head teacher because she's really inspirational and it's a great school. But I was very academically challenged. I'm not really a STEM brain, like maths, science, all that stuff. And I kind of was a little bit emotionally immature. I like it. And I didn't realize, or I was kind of fooling around. Everyone was going home and doing their homework, right? And I just kind of fell in love with music and the romance of I met, you know, there was a record shop where I lived and I hung out there all the time. And I used to go to shows, and I had great friends in the record shop who would tell my parents that they were taking me to London, and I would sneak off to London. and I fell in love with music. So I was never academically inclined, and I wanted to be in a band. And
Right. So it was music. Like, obviously you were writing and reading or whatever early, but your passion, everything was surrounding about music as a kid.
yeah. And what happened was I used to have really mad crushes on boys because there were none in my life. And I
Sure,
didn't
yeah.
understand that they were humans. They were just like strange, exotic objects to me.
Right.
And I used to watch skateboarding videos, and I tried to skate, but I couldn't. And there used to be a skate company called Plan B that had this amazing soundtrack. And one of the bands on there was called Bad Religion.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I actually went to uni in London to study music and all
Uni
that kind of-
is British for college.
university. Like,
I'm just decoding that for the idiots.
so if you go to college,
I call the listeners the idiots.
so if you want to study to become a doctor in America, you go to a medical college.
I don't know. I think
Okay.
people call it college even if they're referring to university. I think normal people, and I'm not saying this is true, I don't know if it's true, but I think normal people would say a university is a fancy word for college. Like, I think that's, you know, I think that's maybe an American perspective, but not the right one, like most American perspectives.
Okay. So I don't go to a great college / university, PS. It's like one that will accept people with not great grades, but it's in London. And I remember taking my demo to a Bad Religion show and meeting Greg Hetson, and we became like lifelong buddies. And I actually even stayed with him in Encino. And, you know, I was lucky enough to go hang out with the band when they were recording with Todd Rundgren in Hawaii.
Wow.
And I really literally 100% thought I was going to be in bands and play music all my life. And
So, go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, I did do bands for a while, and we had lots of fun. And then kind of I got sober and stopped drinking, and then I was like, wow, touring is really not fun when you're sober, especially when you're the only one who is sober and driving around.
That makes it
continental
more
Europe.
isolating than it is already, you know.
Amen. And also, like, I'll never forget, like, playing shows in Germany, trying to ask for the money in German, going back to a bedroom where there'd be like 6 or 7 of us on mattresses, and, you know, me fending off like 6-foot Germans trying to come on to my bandmates who were like completely drunk. And I was like, seriously, dude, they can't even stand. So you can't hang out with them as they're falling into unconsciousness. So yeah, but I have a bunch of really talented musician friends in London who still perform and play, and I get to appreciate from the outside. But I much prefer going to shows where I can sit down, and if they serve a cup of tea, that's the perfect show for me now.
So, okay, so you gave your demo to a guy from Bad Religion. What was your demo?
It was that at that time, I think I was in a band called, oh gosh, Disco Pistol.
Uh-huh.
And it was around the time that there were so many bands just everywhere in London, because it was the rise of like bands. I don't know if you'd have heard of them, like Blur and Suede and Oasis. It was this summer of Britpop. So you could, like, if you went in a newsagent, there'd be a guitar player like buying some cans. If you went to go like to the laundrette, there would be like a keyboard player. Like, London was just wall to wall with bands. So yeah. Oh gosh, I feel old now.
But what was your demo?
What was it? It was probably
what kind of music were you playing? The Disco Pistol? I don't know what play music that is.
It was like punk pop.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think of a comparison. Like a very bratty British girl going, like, no, I'm really cool over guitar music, basically. Which is very of its time. Yeah.
No, I got it. That makes sense. So okay, obviously, like you said, you're very musical, even growing up, etc. What were your musical tastes like when you first started, and what was like, what did you, I mean, obviously at that point with the demo, you're in the pop punk. So like, what was your evolution from the start to that point?
Oh, that's so funny. Like, I don't know if I ever evolved. Like, I feel incredibly musically like frozen in time. So my first hit going into that record shop was all the punk bands like NoFX, Pennywise, Bad Religion. Yeah, all of those bands of that ilk. Offspring. Like, I saw the Offspring before they had Pretty Fly for a White Guy. You know, we would go see them in tiny venues in London. And then growing up, like, through the kind of explosion of Britpop, then loving all the British exported music. And then as I got older, like, there are some bands that there's some bands and acts that are just really close to my heart. Like, one example is Beck. And I think I really like Beck because he just like will have a concept and then the album is that. And he also wrote one of the best breakup albums in the world. And he just feels things very deeply. So I kind of get hung up on these artists. And then, yeah, now like it's kind of sad, but music is not as much part of my life. And I think, you know, when you do something so much and you love it so much, and then you get sober and you're like dealing with people in the music industry who aren't necessarily very nice, because there are a lot of people in there who are making the money and they have to be kind of mean to extract the gold, you know? So, yeah. But
I gotcha. Yeah.
One of my favorite things now is finding ridiculously epic soundtracks, just so crazy over the top. And I think that started around the time the Lord of the Rings films came out. So if you give me like any ridiculous soundtrack, the more epic, the better. I think, yeah, I like my YouTube will just serve me up everything, you know.
Big orchestral, dramatic.
Yeah. And even self-composers with, you know, song titles like The Battlefields in the Skies Above Mars. And you're like, oh yeah, this is going to be good.
Yeah.
Anything with like thematic, operatic kind of monk chanting, but kind of sinister, warlike chanting, that kind of stuff. It's so funny, but that's what gets my pulse racing now.
Hey, it's all, you know, who knows? It's all who knows.
How about you? What's on the Spencer jukebox?
Well, I'm not a big music guy. I like music, but I kind of like most music. I don't know. I'd say my preference is more electronic music. My value system for music is I like novel sounds. I like new sounds, and a lot of electronic sounds that they use sound very novel and interesting to me in the way that I like. I'd say if there's anything I don't like, it's guitar, just because guitars always sound the same. You can do really technical, incredible things, but you know, the timbre of a guitar just kind of sounds the same no matter what music you're playing. And it's not that I don't like it, it's just that, like, if, you know, I don't like it as much because to me it's this very samey sound, no matter what you do with it. Whereas, you know, electronic music, you can make any sort of, you know, musical voice. But I don't know. It's just, I was never too into music. When I was a little kid, I would listen to my mom's CDs and stuff. She would play Harry Belafonte and, you know, the Piano Man, Billy Joel, and Garth Brooks. And I just remember, you know, the thunder rolls and the lightning strikes and the banana song, and, you know, John Henry and, you know, Field of Dreams and that. But I liked the music, but I was never like seeking it out myself.
Right.
The big musical one time in high school, my parents bought me an iPod, and I just asked two friends what they listened to, and one of them said Guns N' Roses and one of them said Freeze Pop. And so what I did is I went on torrents and I ripped every single Guns N' Roses song and every single Freeze Pop song, and that was like all on my iPod. I was like, this is great, this is fine, you know, I don't have a problem with this. I like Guns N' Roses, like Freeze Pop or whatever, but it's just like anything I'm listening to is usually fine, you know. But when I was working at a used bookstore, I would work on a computer. It was like my first kind of normal ass desk job, and I don't know why, but I just happened upon BBC Radio 1 has a web player, and I used to like listen to NPR, which is like American Public Radio, and around here they have some eclectic music, you know, and it gets more into like what I like about music. It's more like weird, and electronic music is just really mainstream in Britain, you know? So BBC Radio 1 was delivering this really high quality. I mean, have you ever listened to Radio 1? Probably at least some part of your life, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
Like, it's part of our adolescence. You listen to Radio 1 growing up, and then as you get older, you start listening to Radio 2. And then when you're really old, you're listening to Radio 3 and 4. It's a rite of passage.
Are there any Radio 1 personalities that were there when you're in it that are still involved? Like, I don't know. I don't know if Chris Moyles is still going on, but like he was like kind of like the big man at Radio 1 at my time. Like when I was listening, it was like he seemed like one of the biggest figures, you know?
That's crazy that you know Chris Moyles. I'm impressed.
Yeah. You know, that was my thing. I would listen to Chris Moyles, Scott Mills, Greg James, Nick Grimshaw. You know, I love Nick Grimshaw. I fucking love that guy. But yeah. And so but it's just like, it's so clear that the culture is so much better at promoting music. You were talking about a time that was maybe some of the biggest growth and churn like of generation of music, you know, in Britain. Like what it's just anyway, I don't know. It was a really unique perspective to not know anything about British music and just to be inundated with only British culture, you know, and being like, this is so much better than anything that has ever been on American radio. The music is really good. It's my kind of music, you know. And then you also get popular stuff from America. It was interesting. There was like a 2-year delay. It would take 2 years for popular stuff in America to show up on BBC Radio 1, and it would take 2 years for popular stuff on BBC Radio 1 to break over here in America. Yeah. And so it was just a really unique perspective, but I really value, funding the arts. But what was it like, you know, growing up? I mean, with people, like you were saying, just musicians everywhere. Like, what was, it feel? What was the spirit? Was there did you love it? Was it crazy? Was everyone doing stuff? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. It's funny. It's funny actually that you mentioned Guns N' Roses, because when I was in LA, I was there for, I think maybe a month doing a secondment. I got to work for a record label in LA, and shout out to the Shangri-La Hotel, which was one of my dear friends who lives in Santa Monica, like basically welcomed me to come work in LA for a month. And Greg from Bad Religion introduced me to Tommy from Guns N' Roses, and we became fast friends and acquaintances. So I was able to go see Guns N' Roses all over the world from the side of the stage, which was insane. Yeah. But because in my head, like everyone is doing music, I just didn't realize how not normal it was. But being in London around everybody being in excess was completely intoxicating and too much. And I love myself now, but I think I must have been absolutely insufferable as a 20-something in London, as most people were.
That's what I was going to say. That sounds like you were just kind of a normal person in that time.
Yeah. But the other thing is, here's my thing. One of my favorite movies is Almost Famous. I think Cameron Crowe is a great writer, you know, and yes, he does exploit the manic pixie girl concept, but that whole thing, like the kind of Almost Famous bubble where everyone in that feels that they're part of this wider thing. But there's also the two journalists, the writers, have these conversations about how, you know, you're never going to be cool. Like, we are the uncool. And although it was really fun to do music, I've never been cool. I've never been sexy or hot. I've always been cute and over enthusiastic. And that just has to do. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, it is important to know how people view you to either, you know, change that or use it to your advantage, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I just want, back then, I don't know what I wanted. I think I wanted to be in the limelight and people to think I was funny and I could sing well and be popular. And now I just want to have a peaceful existence and hopefully bring good things into the horizon. And I think my life philosophy is life is suffering. Our only job is to try and make each other's lives a little bit easier. So hence, you know, if a Spencer has a Kevin, that makes your life more beautiful. And then Spencer goes to be a Spencer for someone who needs a Kevin equivalent. So yeah, but do that and have the balance of the fun stuff. And you know, I'm busy doing all the creative stuff. A lot of it is a distraction because I'm incredibly anxious and worry all the time. Like any given day, I'll wake up with a different worry.
Yeah, being busy is a great way to handle an anxious mind, I think. Usually if I'm dwelling on something, the only thing that really helps is to engage my mind in something like an activity. So I think that's, good kind of not therapy, but, like self-care strategy maybe. But okay, so this, I don't want to dig into the psychological profiling of you, but going to an all-girls school, that must have been related to a desire to be seen in the limelight, to get validation and attention, right? Do you think that's where it came from, or do you think there's other factors? I mean, if you weren't like interacting with males like they were real people, I think, it could, yeah, I don't know. I'm a weird guy. I like thinking about stuff like this.
No, I mean, because I have been in therapy since 2003. Not every week like Woody Allen. I don't have that money. But, whenever you have a crisis, I hit up the same therapist, and I see her every couple of weeks. She's amazing. So when I went to an all-girls school, I just only really socialized with girls. And then when you would go and you go into shopping into town on the weekend, which is what we did, and you'd see guys, but because you had no frame of reference to interact or talk to them, they just became beings that you were like, I would like a boyfriend. I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know.
It's like a symbol of like maybe even a symbol of being a normal person in a way that you don't feel like you are.
Absolutely. And I think growing up, like being around my father made me feel a lot safer. I felt very protected. And so, that wanting someone to take care of, like an anxious person, you want someone around to take care of you. And you don't really think, hey, does this person and I have the same values? Would we like to live in the same area? Like, do we make each other laugh? So it took me a while to kind of like, and especially when you're in bands and you're dating on the dating scene, it's so vibrant, but it's almost about what bands are playing together regularly. You kind of meet because you're all in this social group. Right. I should say, I love chatting to you, Spencer, but I worry talking about me is boring. Like, me talking about stuff is better. So I hope that listeners aren't like.
I now feel like I was being weird and prying. But I think I was just curious. But yeah, I totally get it. I think people are really interested in what you have to say. But yeah, it's interesting. I was going to say that I feel like, to pivot this about me, like you wanted. I think I had a similar experience.
Just to interrupt you, I think you and I have some similarity in that we're really excited to communicate, but we have this underlying fear, like that what we're saying is dumb and everyone hates us. So I really love you and we connect. Could be.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, yeah, I think it's anxiety and poor self-image and stuff. It comes out in a lot of ways. It's just insecurity, But yeah, I think a lot of people have a lot in common. But yeah, I agree, we have a lot in common for sure. But I was going to say that when I was a kid, like the first crush that I remember having, there was just I don't know how old I was, and the girl was way older. She was just to me, she was like a beautiful woman. The first time I ever seen and clocked it that way. And I told my parents, I don't know why, but I think they were they knew I was they acting weird, and they're like, what's up? And I told them, and I didn't the thing about trauma is you don't know that the world is pain, and then you get hurt and you're like, oh shit, pain exists. What am I going to do? So I told them, and they I don't know exactly what it was because I don't have the literal memories, but they essentially teased me and they didn't let it go. And I was like, oh, telling things relating to my feelings to my parents is a terrible idea, and I can never do that. And simultaneously, I was like, oh, and I can also never pursue a relationship with a girl while I live with my parents because it's not safe. It wouldn't be safe to do that. And I don't know how much of that is why I didn't, reach out too much, or how much of it would have happened anyway, because, I'm just anxious and terrified. But I feel like just so behind in the dating world. And not only does that mean I look stupid, right? It means it's like a first grader in college, they're they can't write, they're using a crayon, it's this looks like a person's attempts at doing something really poorly. So part of it is I feel like I look like that. And the other part of it is as a video game character, I simply haven't done enough level grinding to be where a person of my age normally would, so it's not only that I look stupid, externally, it's also that I don't even know what I want or what I'm good at or what would be good or bad in a relationship with me, because my experience is so limited, and it all snowballs, and that just makes me feel worse. I don't know. And so it's not the same, but it's a little bit similar. But I do want to, the thing, do you have any other thoughts? I'm going to completely switch subjects.
Firstly, I don't think you look stupid. I think you look lovely and handsome, and I think your look, the zeitgeist has caught up with your look, so your look is strong in this climate. Secondly, I will say, Kevin's agreeing. Secondly, I will say, when I was little, I was such a scared little human that my dad would rescue me all the time. Like, if anything happened, if I broke a thing, I'd be like, Dad, can you fix? If I got in trouble at school, he would help me with my homework. I got in so much trouble for maths. I remember he stayed up with me for 3 hours helping me do the things. So then I grew up thinking, I need Dad to help me fix stuff. And I was in fear all the time. So then when I would make a connection, I would need that person, that boy or the man, to protect me and save me from feeling scared, or, so I would need another human as a buffer. So then when I kind of figured out, you really need to just chill and learn how to be by yourself. Mm-hmm. It was like experiencing emotions for my first time and learning how to deal with emotions. So maybe after 3 years, I had the emotional, like a 3-year-old was learning. And I think now I understand the dynamic, now I'll be much more used in a relationship because I have I kind of accept myself and I love myself. And then whoever comes along to join me, they can join in a lovely thing that's fairly together, right? But previously they'd have joined me and then I would have drowned them. Okay, you can just look after me. Here's all my personal responsibility. And I'm really dumbing that down to a macro level, but I wanted to exchange because I really relate to how parents can just take the safety or give too much. And then we are our parents. Humans are mimics.
The idea of a doppelganger terrifies us, but all humans are like that. We observe and we copy, and that creates our sense of self. And the relationship modeling and the behavioral modeling, our caregivers and authority figures are, when we're babies, they completely shape the way what we think normal human interaction is. So yeah, it can completely change everything about a person or how they view the world in ways that are harmful or positive, but I want to completely switch gears to a subject that we did move off of, but I am very curious about, and that's Kevin.
Yay, Kevin.
What kind of music do you like?
It's such a wide range. I like one song from a band and then nothing else,
that's cool. Just any specifics.
The one band that I always go to see if they're playing nearby, though, is Foo Fighters, just because they put on such a good show, and I consistently love their music, and I love how they always bring a kid up from the audience to go play the drums or something like that.
I'd say I'd go so far as to say they're simply the best.
Yes, mad respect to Tina Turner. Rest in peace. The best. What do you know, Kevin, Mira, and Spencer? If we had to sing a song together that we all knew, do you think we would all know a song that we could all sing together? I'm not saying we do it. I'm just wondering what our Venn diagram is.
Well, have you heard the song Chicken Noodle Man?
Oh, you mean the one you left me hanging on? You never heard of it before, even though you wrote the bridge?
Yeah, that's what makes this joke so amazing. Yes.
Here I am.
We're on a terrible delay, so I don't know that I want to induce any singing right now. It's probably for the best.
Let's save that for one day when we do, if we're ever in real life, we'll do it.
Yeah. Speaking of songs, though, I do have that song stuck in my head that you used in the podcast, with the big soundtrack and you singing. It's been stuck in my head.
It's a game you'll play. Yeah. It's Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah.
This is the musicality, Go ahead.
Yeah. But you sang too in that, and it made it so cool. And everyone's like, Spencer's singing and this dude. So it's very good. We made so many people happy with that. Like your visibility online, people are like, it's Spencer. It's very fun.
So if only there was a way that I could feel good off of it. I make a lot of other people happy, and it's like, where's my, like, how do I get that?
What are your top 3 things that make you feel good and happy? And we can ask Kevin after this too.
What does that even mean? What makes someone feel happy?
Like, does giving Jason tummy scritches?
No.
Is that like, no. Jason not throwing up.
That doesn't make me happy. It just doesn't make me unhappy, right? That's the thing, is I feel like a lot of my answers are just things that make me feel less scared and terrible. It doesn't, like, I don't know that it's, I don't know. It's, but that's what I mean. It's like, my food brings me joy. Yeah. But that's a terrible and sad answer.
No, it's not. Not if you're like a connoisseur and it's like a reference in your brain and you get tinglies.
Right, but it is if I'm a fat guy with very little going on in his life who is sad. Oh that makes it kind of that context makes it worse than a normal person saying that their joy is food.
Kevin, can you make a note in the program notes that this is where Spencer torpedoed my cute little idea?
Yes,
to go existential again.
I'm trying. This is me trying. But it's also mean maybe not wanting to be super vulnerable. Maybe if I was like, I could open up, I might be more up to this. But that's
do
the
you
thing,
like slushies?
Sure, yeah, I like soda and slushies. I like soda. Soda is really good. But you know who else likes soda? Soda. That's right, folks. We got the Pepsi s'mores. No, we're not going to do that today. Sorry. What were we saying?
What's your favorite soda flavor?
It's hard to beat just Coke. I don't know. Almost any given time, I'm like, what would be really good right now is a Coke. Like almost it's caffeinated. Right now I'm trying to stop smoking weed. I haven't smoked in like 3 or 4 days. I'm gaining my ability to sleep in again. And so right now I'm in a very bad spot with caffeine. Basically, if I have caffeine past 11 a.m., I'll be up till 3. So I've been drinking Sprite because I can't drink Coke, but it's just like, but I don't want a Sprite. Sprite's great, but what I want is just, this phosphoric acid, caramel flavor, Coke. I don't know. What
about, I'm going to say some flavors. Just hit me back. Root beer.
Root beer, it's okay. I don't like it. Someone in Britain pointed out that root beer tastes like mint, and now I don't really like it anymore.
Oh no, we ruined it. How about grape soda?
I like grape soda.
I love grape soda. It's too sugary and I shouldn't drink it, but I like grape soda. I actually don't.
I like it the more sour it is. You don't drink fizzy drinks?
No.
Yeah, that's good.
It's sad, really. Anything grape flavored. I remember when I discovered we don't have Kool-Aid here. Mm-hmm. So you have Kool-Aid that you just mix sugar into, and then you have sweet Kool-Aid. But I remember that was a revelation, cherry flavored. Even one of my favorite bands had a song about, and it went cherry flavored, berry flavored, tropical punch over ice. I got my berry flavored, cherry flavored, anyway. You have we have a flavor here called American cream soda. Mm-hmm. Do you have that?
We have a flavor called cream soda.
Okay. That makes sense.
I don't know. Wait. Okay. So you guys, don't you have cordials, and also don't you have what is essentially syrup? Like it's like a concentrated sweet beverage that you water down, right?
Say cordial again. Say cordial again.
Cordial.
That's
in America, you'd say cordial means like nice and congenial. So you'd say like the two share a very cordial relationship. And I think that is. We say that too. Oh, okay.
So squash is like the syrup that you add with water. And it's like, we have a very famous one called Ribena, which is blackcurrant, which is delicious. And we have another brand called Robinson's, and that will be your lemon barley squash, your orange. Now you can get orange and pineapple and orange and mango and stuff. And a cordial is a little bit more expensive and a little bit posher. So you could get like elderflower cordial or rose water cordial.
And those aren't concentrated, right? Those are just like juices or sodas. They're a beverage that's complete.
They're also cordial. I bet. Kevin, could you Google the difference between squash and cordial?
Yes.
And see if there is, or if it's just, but they're.
I don't know if I like other people ordering Captain Rest.
Squash has to have at least 30% fruit, where cordial is 10 to 15%.
Oh, I'm
Wow.
coming for you, Kevin Spencer.
I mean,
That's why I'm here today.
If Kevin's up for that, that's great. You know, the thing is, Kevin doesn't need more work. I already don't pay him.
No, I just want to be part of the gang. And Kevin responding makes me feel part of your gang. So thank you.
Yeah. Speaking of which, Kevin, fucking music. What's the music that you like? You said I like one song from a band.
Yeah. Well, no, like I was just looking like what I listened to recently, and it's just the weirdest mix.
That's
like, you know,
good.
you were talking about like British pop punk. Like I was listening to Space Hard recently.
Oh, yes.
You know, I like them. Let's see, Faith No More I was just listening to, but like Lady Gaga. You know, Foo Fighters was on there. Yeah, a little bit of everything. Like Aerosmith, Lily Allen.
Oh my gosh. I listened to this Aerosmith album as a breakup album, but it was not a good Aerosmith album. And my friends were like, we're really worried about you. And they had a song on that album called Street Jesus. Oh dear.
Man.
Yeah.
Hey, well, this is a bad idea, and I shouldn't say this. But Kevin, you know, if you ever need a new show on the lineup, we get Mira something.
I just want to hang with you. I don't. The responsibility of my own show that maybe one person would watch. Poor Kevin had to deal with me.
But you know, everyone needs a Kevin, and that's, as far as I know, the only way to do it is to do a show on Trauma.
Kevin, do you play Dungeons and Dragons? Have you ever played D&D with Spence?
On the show we did for a little while, but it kind of was.
I didn't like it.
The two of us.
I was like, Kevin
it?
Does not deserve this.
Whoa!
This is
What
too
does
much
he have
work
to
just
do?
for Kevin's benefit.
Oh,
I don't know. I guess people did like the D&D, right? I mean, I literally know where we left off. Like we could get back into it if we wanted, but I don't know. The thing is, I feel like if you're going to split it, it's like, who fucking cares? So it's either we go full D&D or we go full not, and it's so much easier to go full not, you know? That's the thing.
Yeah. I think we felt like it wasn't going well, but everybody else did.
Oh my gosh, everyone, you know, as a person outside in the UK, everyone loves when Spencer runs D&D, but I don't think there's anything wrong with a sprinkling of if the whimsy takes you.
But that's the thing, is it won't.
You never know. Now you stop smoking.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? The corners of your mind that were filled with the delicious different names of some strains.
All these terpenes.
Yeah, is that what they're called?
The terpenes are the chemicals that do weed stuff.
Say some cool weed strain names.
Gorilla Glue, Alaskan Thunderfuck, Granddaddy Purple, Alien Gas.
That's so cool. When I was in Sacramento, I just went out there for like a week or so, and I was on these Lime bikes you can ride around.
Yeah.
So I was visiting like the art galleries and the yard sales, and I found this rose garden in Sacramento with 2,500 different types of roses and even brown colored roses. And then I kept going past this place called Lemonade. Oh, that looks like fun. And I went to knock, and there was like a policeman on the door. And I was like, what is this place? And he was like, it's a dispensary, ma'am. And I was like, oh, we don't have those. Wah! And obviously I'm sober, so I didn't do anything. But I peeked into this. I don't know what I was expecting to. I was expecting to open the door and it would be like a waft of smoke and like a 70s head shop and like bongs and black lights and a hippie. And it was like the most clinical. It's like an Apple store.
Yeah.
I was like, oh. So the names are the romantic thing that would keep me coming in. But my point is, and thank you so much for indulging me with some of those amazing names. Sure. Now the terrapins are not swimming in your mind, what will?
Sadness.
Oh, shoot. Oh, no.
I mean, it is. I'll probably work on my Patreon more, although, you know, maybe I won't. But that was the last time I was not smoking. When I had a lot of free time, I would just kind of sit at the computer and type stuff up. You know, but I don't know. Maybe I'll write like TV stuff more. I don't know. I don't know.
Do you live near a rose garden in do you have any?
Yeah, I was going to bring that up. Yeah. I always have so many things to say, and I'm always like, which one? Because I'm going to forget the rest if I say anything.
Sorry. Also, I think I'm talking too much, so I'm going to stop.
You're doing great. I think people really wanted to hear from you. People really liked the episode, and they wanted more of you, and I think we're doing that. But Huntington Library is, if you're ever in the LA area, you have to, I'll take you there. We have to check out the Huntington Library. It's a beautiful place. The Huntingtons are rich fucks who decided that they had so much expensive shit that they needed to buy a massive property to put it all on. What were you going to say?
I've been to Huntington Beach. I stayed out in Orange County, right? So is that the same family?
Not at all.
Okay, moving on.
They might be related. I don't think so. But so it's called Huntington Library, but really it's a massive botanical garden, and they have a giant like, I don't know what you call it. It's like a rose garden, and maybe the rose garden you went to was like that. But every single one of them has plaques, and they're all these really complicated color breeds that are just gorgeous. Yay! Yeah, it's really beautiful. You know, you probably want to go. I can tell. Yeah, you're too excited. But the roses are gorgeous. You know, you'd probably want to go when they're in bloom. You know, but there's this giant fucking like cactus garden that looks like an alien planet. There's like an Australian kind of like outback sort of garden with giant weird trees. It's the coolest place. I think LA is a cool place to live. I think there are tourist stuff, but a lot of the tourist stuff sucks shit. But like the only thing I would recommend to literally anyone is Huntington Library. And they also do, every month they'll do one free day. So if you really do your research, you can not pay money. You don't have to buy tickets. So
I don't mind paying for the horticulturalists. They're one bit of capitalism I can get into. If you're planting green stuff, take my money.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I agree. I mean, when I used to come out to LA, I was obsessed with Hollywood and the Strip because bands, music, and naughty nonsense and stuff. But now I'm like, if I plan to come back to California, I'm thinking it's very temperate. Like, what's the weather this time of year? And I would love to see redwoods. I've never walked in a redwood forest and stuff. But that place sounds amazing. I'm on this mission to seek out roses, and the smell is so healing. Yeah. Are you in nature? Do either of you enjoy nature? I know that you have a lot of, when I used to listen to Harmontown, there was a lot of talk about coyotes, to the point where if you only listen to Harmontown, you would imagine that walking the freaking streets would be dangerous. So what's your wilderness nature like? No.
Well, let's let Kevin go first.
Okay.
So I live in Chicago, a long way from Spencer, and there are coyotes literally everywhere here. So
Whoa.
Yeah, coyotes are everywhere. They don't fight people because they're afraid, but they're everywhere. I just saw one this morning. He was running across the street. He went to a park.
So is it like our equivalent of like urban foxes? Like they're not really...
they're like bigger foxes. Okay. They look a lot like foxes too.
I thought they were more like wolves. That's why
they are.
They're kind of halfway in between.
Small. Yeah, okay. That's the thing. Like, they're small. They're very pointy. You know how pointy foxes are? They're like, foxes have a bit of dog to them, but they're too pointy. You know, like coyotes are like wolves that did that. They're like fox wolves. Everything is really pointy. They're skinnier. They always look, they kind of look like they're starving, but they're a lighter framed animal. They're much, you know, a wolf is about as big as what people think a lion is. A wolf is like smaller than a lion, but they're actually very big, and people just assume they're like large dog size. They're probably like bigger than Great Dane size, but Great Danes are like stretched out, you know, whereas they're just bulk, you know. So people think of them as coyotes as wolves, but that's because I don't think they really understand like the size that wolves are fucking huge. But yeah. But coyotes are cool. They're very cute. I love them. I told you I saw one this morning. I wanted to get out of my car and chase it around and hug
it. Wow. See, that would make you happy.
Yeah, it would. I definitely want a pet coyote, but coyotes are hard to domesticate, and they're you know.
I don't think Jason would like it.
No, this is a post-Jason plan.
Oh, wow.
But,
Okay, Kevin. He's probably planning post Mira and post Kevin as well.
Yeah, probably.
My cat is like 18. Like she's really old. I don't. It's like it's the most impending tragedy I expect to handle.
Oh my lord.
In life,
Okay, let's switch back. I promise this is the last question. But so if I go into countryside and nature, I go into like a green park. It's like traditional. If I'm lucky, can find old English forest, maybe some rivers. In Chicago and LA, like what's your closest nature like?
Kevin.
Well, I mean, I live in the middle of nothing. So like literally it's trees and cornfields and things like that all around me. So I don't have to walk more than 2 minutes before I'm in the middle of nothing.
Very flat, right, Kevin?
Yeah, it's very flat around here. But I'm also not too far from the Chicago Botanical Garden, which is humongous and pretty. And, you know, they've got like Japanese rose gardens and things like that in there. That's all really nice to see, too. So there's a lot I can see around here. And Chicago has some free zoos that have some big, you know, nature things and stuff like that. Nice. So, yeah, there's a lot to see around here.
That's cool. Yeah, I used to grow up in Moore Park, which was like a farming kind of town. So it had a lot of interface with the wilderness. You could just go into like cow fields and like arroyos. And like there's this thing called the LA River. But there's not a lot of like rivers in California, at least these days, because ever since like the drought hit, like most of our bodies of water have just dried up, except the biggest ones. But, you know, I always loved being out in the nature and kind of like on back roads and stuff when I was living there. And when I moved to LA, you know, it's like the concrete jungle, right? But we have, you know, the Hollywood sign. The Hollywood sign is like a mountain range that's just north of the entire city of LA. And Griffith Park is like a pretty big natural area there. And almost every day, if not every day, I will drive through Griffith Park just to kind of like absorb the greenery to stay sane. Ever since I've moved here, I kind of have had to do that just because, you know, suburbs, they have this bounded nature, these concretes and cages around small, like manicured trees. It's not,
They're
it's
like,
not nature.
Enclaves, right? Like,
yeah. But having trees surrounding you is a completely different feeling, and that's kind of what I need. So Griffith Park is very close. I go there a lot, and there's other parking spaces or hiking spots, and you know, mountains and stuff to go trudge into. So I do that sometimes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. But I don't know, man. Here's the thing. We've been reading emails on our podcast lately, and I'm afraid if we don't read one, people will stop sending us emails at thathappenspod@gmail.com. So I think I'm going to read one of these if it's okay.
Go for it.
Is it okay? Okay. Thank you, Kevin.
Were we meant to put some ads in somewhere?
Yeah, it's too late. That's the thing. We hit like 30 minutes and I was like,
sorry.
You know, yeah. So this is an email by a guy named Ian who is licking Elon Musk's ass. He's giving me a lot of counterfactuals about the failed rocket launch. But I feel like the stuff he's saying is like pedantry about... Here's the thing, Mira. I don't care about specifics. I'm a vibes guy. I know so much that I can't like dive deep into like any single subject. My brain doesn't work like that. I've always been bad with names, dates, like really little figures, because what sticks out to me is the themes and the science and the ideas that make everything fit, you know? Mm-hmm. And so I talk in a way that a lot of people would say is full of hyperbole or exaggeration, because those are the ideas. I'm not saying it to literally, you know, describe this black and white concept that I only see one way. I'm doing it because hyperbole gets the idea across, and it's what I'm vaguely like, it's the gist of what I'm talking about. And I think this guy has like little details about things that I was brushing over to say, you know, that I was being overly critical, but I think a lot of this stuff is kind of still just confirming the you know, the gist of what I was trying to say. So I think he's like trying to help
me be accurate, but what I was saying was accurate in the way I was saying it, and I'm not seeing.
So he's like hyping you from a deep dive, like he's gone to gather facts to give to you, to say,
yeah,
I heard your hyperbole and I support it with facts. That's kind of loving. That's kind of a nice gesture.
No, it's not, because this guy is coming from a place of really caring about defending Elon Musk, which I would ask you, why is that how you're spending your time? Like, don't do that. This must have taken at least an hour to research and write. And obviously I'm not even reading the email. So it's, I mean, I appreciate people thinking about it, but I don't think that was what I don't think his corrections really intersect with the truth of what I was saying. Does that make sense? And it probably sounds really negative, and I'm very sorry, Ian, to treat you like that publicly. But I don't know. I'm a piece of shit. So I do like you, Ian. I don't know what you're doing, so I have to assume some sort of, agenda or whatever that's not necessarily sporting and not necessarily accurate. And so if I misrepresented you, I'm sorry, but I'm a fucked up guy. You can keep listening to the podcast. We can be friendly, and if you are mad at me, that's cool too. I get it. I totally get it. Anyway, Vaughn writes, Dear Spencer, I should read these beforehand. Dear Spencer, Master of Dungeons, for too long has this podcast, named after your DMing expression of action confirmation, been without its moniker namesake. Enter this email, a format for fans' future appearances with your weekly wordsmithery. We shall lack the blessing of your die rolls no longer. To that end, I would like to be considered for the position of player character for a D&D segment on your show. I don't have anything like a resume, because that would be an absolutely ridiculous overreach. I do have a few characters in mind, which we could discuss if you're interested in a Happuccino's D&D segment. I've been a fan of yours ever since I've decided to check out a show called Harmon Quest, and then I worked my way backwards to Harmontown. If you ever decide to take your podcast in a direction other than Dungeons & Dragons, I will continue to be a fan. You're an awesome person, and you're one of the few who deserves their fan base. Rolling persuasion, Vaughn.
Yay, Vaughn.
Thank you so much, Vaughn. That was very nice.
I agree, Vaughn.
This is another situation where I feel like I want to be the bad guy, and it's like, what value comes of that? Maybe I could just, move on. But what I will say is a lot of people have encouraged me to do more D&D stuff, and usually what I say is that's the most obvious idea anyone could have ever suggested. That's like saying, hey, Ronald McDonald, have you ever thought about being a clown? It's like, yeah, the reason why you have that idea is because I do that. That's because that's something I know about me more than you know it about me, right? And so I've thought that. The reason that I haven't done this is because it's a lot of work. The biggest thing I think I need is a producer. No offense, Kevin, but I think I need like an LA-based producer that has contacts to guests, because the hardest part is I want to spin up a good cast. Harmon Quest, I think, worked because of the chemistry and talent of the cast, and I think every D&D podcast live play thing, it lives and dies on the cast's chemistry. And finding a cast, testing the chemistry is an iterative process that strikes me as torture akin to removing my fingernails. So it becomes a really big task. Enter people saying, hey, if you're having trouble finding a cast, what about me? To which I say, that's a very generous offer. You see a problem, you see a solution that you can offer, and you're offering that solution in the earnest attempt to solve a problem that you are trying to help me solve. That's a good thing, right? However, from my perspective, as someone who thought Kevin was an evil man bent on controlling Dan Harmon, the last person I want or would consider being a good fit...
Kevin was Grimace. No, Kevin was the burglar.
Yeah, exactly. No, the Grimace. He was evil Grimace, and he became good. That's okay. Why Kevin used to be evil until I purified him. I don't know.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. Hey, write a fan fiction about that.
I am just to throw my hand to the ring with Vaughn. I would be part of your D&D cast.
Well, it would have been great for you to listen to me finish my sentence, because when I'm looking for people who would be a good fit, the last person I would think of is someone who would offer, because I wouldn't offer, and I like people who think like me. And so to the people, again, I get it. You're earnestly trying to solve a problem that you think would be helpful. But again, it reads to me like Kevin, and so I instantly read manipulation and malign intent into it. It's not someone just trying to help. It's someone who thinks that they can insert themselves into other people's things and just assumes that will be welcome. And that to me is like, it underscores a personality type that I think I'd really crash with. I will caveat, I do not think this is true of you, Mira. I think we have a different relationship that entitles you to more of that than others. But, you know, I think we still do have somewhat of a fan kind of creator relationship. And so, you know, I think like, I think that it's similar. I think you're better.
I'm trying to think of another McDonald's character I could be, and we've run out of them now.
You could be one of the Fry Kids. Okay. But no, see, I'm not saying this to bite your head off, Mira. I'm saying this is simply to bite off Vaughn's head. I'm sorry, Vaughn. It's not to bite off your head. It's just a lot of people talk to me about these things. I say the same answers a lot of times. I don't know how many times I've said that on the podcast. I'm sorry. Again, I know everyone's trying to help. It's just in my pessimistic worldview, I have a lot of suspicion of those kinds of people because I don't see myself as that kind of person. Although maybe I am. Maybe me going to Harmontown with the thought of being in D&D. Maybe that was me being that kind of person. So maybe I'm just seeing myself and not liking it. So again, like with Ian, I'm not trying to alienate the fan base most willing to help me provide content for my podcast by writing emails. But at the same time, I'm a toxic, fucked up person who puts his knee-jerk reactions over other people's feelings, you know? Go ahead.
I'm going to house you. This is a way of subconsciously showing us your vulnerability.
Nice.
By saying, you know, I feel the love. I'm not accepting of this love because I need to be in a safe place of suspicion to keep me safe because that's my learned behavior. But by mentioning it and addressing you by name, you know that I love you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the thing is that like I just feel like I'm so spiky and it's so easy for me to hurt people. And what I really just want to do is explain where I'm coming from, but to me there's a lot of overlap in those two things and it's hard for me to know which one I'm doing, you know.
If you're not maliciously like, nah, today I'm evil.
I mean, I kind of was. I was saying that knowing it's kind of delighting and insulting and belittling someone, you know. So it's like I am knowingly doing that. I could have, like, before I said the whole spiel, I said I could have just not said any of it. Like, it's like that would be the healthy thing to do, just to appreciate the, you know. But it's like, no, I feel the need to correct this person. It's fucked up. I don't know. Whatever. Mira, you bought some Wendy's stuff. We're gonna have you back on to talk about the Wendy's stuff because we're out of time. But yeah, I do want to get into that. We didn't really get into it, but maybe next time you can like show that off and we can open it up and really dig into it on the podcast or something. I don't know.
That would be fun. Yes. I have been saving it for a long time because I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but me and Kevin could look at it and then you could help me figure out what I do with it in the future.
For sure.
And I wondered if your Wendy's was doing the same thing, if it's the same in. Oh, okay.
It's a bummer. It seems really cool. I don't know why they wouldn't do that, you know?
Yeah. Well,
the closest we talked about it before, but the closest thing to that is Nerds had some D&D adventures. Nerds the Candy.
Oh my gosh, I interviewed the lady who wrote the Nerd Adventures for D&D magazine. How about that?
So that's on D&D magazine?
Yeah, I should say her name because she's done loads of very cool stuff. She even wrote a book called How to Make Your Life More D&D. And if I forget her name on this podcast, I'll be really sad. Let me just, I'm Googling myself, Kevin, because I feel I can't.
We should interview her.
Yes, we should. We should get her on. I mean, you get her on. But
Kruger?
It's called Dungeons and Dragons, How to Be More D&D. Face your dragons, be more adventurous, and live your best geeky life by Kat Kruger. And she is super fun, amazing, cool. She also does a D&D podcast. So yay.
That's awesome. All right. Well, cool. We're out of time. So that's our show. Do you have anything to plug? Thanks so much for coming on. It was great to talk. We got to have you back.
I don't have anything to plug. Like, go check out my YouTube channel if you have not hated this. And it's just really, really great to meet you, Kevin. And thank you for being, all things Kevin. And Spencer, I love chatting, hanging, Twitter conversations. So let's find some more stupid stuff to do together for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Just want to issue a quick correction. Mira did say she had nothing to plug and then immediately plugged her website. So that actually was a plug. If there was any confusion there, just wanted to clear that up. Kevin.
Wait, I have a plug.
Okay. And that's another plug. So we've been told there was no plugs and we've seen two. So
that's a visual sight gag, listeners.
I think we caught some of that on the video and Kevin can fix it up. But Kevin, you got anything to plug?
Nope, just check out Schwab Home Video every Sunday to watch this live before I edit out all of Spencer's really terrible thoughts and mine too.
Kevin, I might hit you with notes on things to edit out too.
Okay. All right. That's all doable.
Yeah, man. No problem.
SchwabHomeVideo.com every Sunday. Yeah.
And so that's our show. We like to end the same time we do every week. So until next time, we should be doing something about the Nazis that are going around LA trying to attack schools. See you guys.
Bye.